Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're reacting to episode 14 of season 2 of Vinland Saga. And last episode, oh my god, we discovered a little bit about Arnheid in terms of her husband was also a slave. They were evidently separated, and now he has come for her. But my biggest concern is obviously he has attacked Snake's men. He is a runaway slave. And I'm not entirely sure if there's not going to be some fighting or some tension. I wonder if Arnheid is maybe able to get them to kind of listen to her. I feel as if we might actually now learn more about Arnheid's background because we really don't know anything about her other than the fact that she's a slave. She's not allowed to leave because the master has an infatuation with her and doesn't want her to go. Her husband was sent elsewhere, which makes me wonder, did they separate them because the intention was to make her into like someone that he sleeps with? And evidently didn't want the husband around, so they were separated for that purpose, or whether it was just coincidental that they were separated and one went elsewhere and the other was sent to another slave master. And I mean, it's not uncommon that did happen. You would have families that were sold into slavery and they would all be separated depending on who bought them. They weren't kept together. So it wouldn't shock me if they were just separated because two different people bought them for two different reasons, or if it was maybe a calculated move so that Kettle could have Arnheid all to himself without the interference of her husband, without her giving her services. Ugh, hate using that word, but I have to be very careful with what I say, to another man instead of him. So I'm sure we'll learn more about how she ended up here, how her husband got separated from her, how they ended up becoming slaves, because we know that there's about to be an attack on the farm. We know that tension is brewing, a storm is coming, but whether it's going to be this episode, I don't know, because this is kind of like the halfway point now because there's 24 episodes. So episode 14 is kind of the halfway point. So they're either going to do it this episode that the storm breaks, or they're going to end with the storm ensuing and leave it as kind of a cliffhanger for the next episode, especially if maybe they split it up into like the first half of the series was released and then the second half of the series you had to wait for. I'm not sure how they did it because I'm very fortunate. I get to watch it in one go. But if it was me and I had a series that was being split, I would leave it on like a baiting cliffhanger. Like, how could I get people to want to tune in when this starts again? What can I do to leave them wanting more? And that would be to maybe have the storm be something that happens the next episode, but we build to it in this episode. We give a little bit more context to some of the characters that have become quite well liked, which is never good because usually I have noticed with anime that if they start building up a character that they really have not focused on, they're about to kill them off. So if they're now building up Arnheid, I don't think she's gonna make it past this storm raid. I keep referring to it as a storm because the symbolism of it is a storm is brewing. So that's why I'm like, oh yeah, a storm, but it's a raid. It's reclamation of the land because Canute wants to financially benefit from it. But yeah, if they're building her up and giving more life and context to her, it's because they intend to kill her off and they need it to have emotional impact. And the only way it's going to have emotional impact is by making us become attached to her. And by becoming attached, we're immediately devastated when we then lose her. I like Arnheid. I feel like if she does die, I will be sad, but it just depends. I feel like it's more the tragedy of her maybe potentially coming close to getting her freedom, that she just got reunited with her husband. There's this sense of potentiality and possibility for what her life could be, only for it to be snuffed out, which reiterates just how cruel this world is and how cruel the environment that they're living in is, that their lives are seen as nothing but disposable. And then we also had the master who is declining rapidly and he laments not wanting to die in his bed. So I did have the theory that perhaps with the raid that it could renew him in that he feels this urge to protect everything that he has given his life for, and in doing so dies on his own terms rather than in his bed. I hope he doesn't die in his bed because that would just be absolutely devastating. But I think he's going to die. I think Arnheid's going to die. I think Arnheid's husband's going to die. I think Einar and Thorfinn are going to be lucky to escape. I think this may be the turning point for Thorfinn in that there's nothing here for him to go back to. So in erasing this life that he has begun to build, that he's begun to find himself content with, he's driven back home. He's driven back towards his family because there's nothing else for him here. So then we may see him going back. We may see him then start to get ambitions about going to Vinland. I hope Leif doesn't die, because if he reunites with Thorfinn only to die, I'm going to be really, really angry, because they both deserve so much better, especially Leif. Leif has dedicated so much of his life to finding Thorfinn again, to restoring his honor by living up to the promise he made Thors and Helga. So to not be able to actually see that come to fruition is heart-wrenching. So I'm hoping they don't do that. I'm hoping Leif does get to actually bring Thorfinn home finally. And I think Thorfinn is going to take Einar. They're kind of inseparable at this point. I think the raid will be the catalyst for driving him home, but I also think it's going to be the test for Thorfinn. He's taken this path of pacifism, he's forsaken violence, but when actually faced with it once more, seeing the destruction of everything he knows and loves, seeing the threats leveraged against the people that he cares about, is he going to be able to restrain himself? And I think this will be the moment that he realizes how much he has changed, how much he has grown, and that he doesn't need violence to make his point, that he can be almost like his father, in that his father uses self-defense, doesn't take a life, but is able to disarm people in order to protect others. And Thorfinn may end up doing the same. But this, I think, will be difficult for him in that it's going to be the first time that he's really confronted by war again, by conflict, enough that he feels that pull back to being a warrior, to violence, because it's easy. Whereas now he has to fight that urge because he's taken this new path, and this path is much harder because this path encourages you to embrace everyone and love everyone and value everyone's life equally because you have no enemies. You're supposed to unconditionally love all, and that's really going to be challenged for him when he sees the violence and conflict that's likely to ensue. But without further ado, let's get into episode 14 and see what happens. And I'm very worried. I'm scared that I might get emotional. It's always a gamble with certain shows as to whether I'm going to cry, and the biggest gambles are Vinland Saga and Free Run at the minute, because you never know. Some episodes of Vinland Saga have just really caught me off guard, and I have bawled like a baby.
なんということだ。歩いて数日の近きにそなたたちがいようとは。だが、前にも増して美しい。
Oh, smooth talker. I can't believe he was only 2 days away.
なんだ、夫なのか、アルネイズさんの。
Ina's like, I didn't foresee
ギャル
this.
ティは元気か。もう大きくなったのであろうな。
Is this a child? Do they have a son? Or
ガルザル、
did this son pass?
ヤルティは
Oh no, the child's gone, isn't it?
さあ、帰ろう、三人で。私たちの家へ。
いえ、
Because we've never seen
その
this
手を取る
child.
な、アルネイズ。
She's literally being put in the
そ
middle.
れは 切る
Oh my god, the music is so good.
きついアルネイズを確保して下がれはい
Their hands were so close.
トカゲがやられたってのは本当か
はい頭を割られて
As if yous weren't gonna kill him in turn. Or
こ
severely
いつ
injure
はアルネイ
him.
ズをさらいに来たんだ
It's not kidnapping. That's his literal wife. She's not property. I know Kettle thinks she is, and you see her as
だったら
property.
なんだ
But no. Oh, she's fighting so hard to get back to him. Oh, Aina is so conflicted. He's like, I don't know what to do.
やめろエイナル
事情なら分かってるアルネ
They
イズさんの弟子が
separated
彼女を助けに来たんだ
Arnheid and her husband.
アルネイズさんに自由になってほしくないのかよ
3人倒さなきゃ逃げられないんだぞ
俺が力不足なのは分かってる
But he wants to give them a chance.
俺はそんなこと言ってるんじゃないお前に人が殺せるのか相手が客人だろうと誰だろうと
God,
こ
look
の
at
斧で人を殺
Thorfinn.
せるのか
Can you live with that weight? Can you carry that burden? Oh, the internal conflict of feeling like you can't do anything, but you want to. He knows who Kettle is, so I think he knows exactly what Kettle took his wife for. Oh my god, look at him go!
そいつ強えぞ
Oh! What a badass. We love a man that loves his wife.
つうかお前らあいつに人たち入れ
Just
たの
give
か
him his wife back.
いや恥ずかしながら
He snuck up on them because they were being too
あい
loud.
つ手負いだぞ
Oh! The music is so good.
すげえあっちゅう間に決めちゃった
Oh, the scream from her husband.
アルネイズアルネイズ
Oh, my heart is broken for them.
さて
Oh, it's the screaming
言いたい
for
ことが
her,
ある
and
よ
she
な。
can't even go to him or
だが
do
俺
anything.
の意見は通らんぞ
Oh, Snake, I hate you right now.
こんなのあんまりだ
奴は俺の手下を殺した
And your
他で
men
も
would
殺
have
しを
killed
した疑いが
him.
あるしかも旦那に殺意を持ち旦那の気に入りのアルネイズをさらう気でいる
His wife.
奴のことは忘れろアルネイズ
Oh, Snake, shut the
あれはお
fuck
前の
up.
夫じゃねえ
That is her
ただ
husband.
のイカれた逃亡奴隷だいいかこの件には関わるな
He's not
じ
gonna
じ
be
い
able
の
to
世話
stay out
頼ん
of
だぞ
it. Their hands were so close to touching, they didn't even get to touch. That's the tragedy of it. Oh, he's boiling with rage. I would be too.
エイナル待て
エイナルさん
お
座っていてくださいもうすぐお夕飯ですから
It just breaks my heart that she's accepted this.
暗いうちなら砦に忍び込んでガルザーさんを助けられるかもしれない何もしなかったら旦那さんは確実に処刑されるんですよ
She knows. But that's so sad.
じっとして嵐が過ぎるのを待つの
The storm's not gonna pass though.
エイ
It's
ナル
only
さん
gonna
ま
get
で
worse from here on
嵐に
out.
巻き込まれない
She wants to keep them safe, but the fact that she never sees any hope for the future is heartbreaking.
たとえヘビさんたちとやり合うことになっても何もしないよりマシだ頼むドルフィン力を貸してくれ俺が見張りを引きつけるからお前は
私はお鍋のせいで息子を失いました
Pots?
少し私のことをお話しさせていただけますか
Oh, this is gonna be heart-wrenching, isn't it? He's listening.
昔の話を。
Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm already like on the edge.
豊かでも貧しくもなく、ごく平穏に。
Oh, look at her baby.
いくつかの勢力の間で、その沼地の所有権をめぐって争いが起きました。
And their lives were ruined as a result.
ガルザルは集落の皆にそのことを伝え、男たちは話し合いました。
Did the men leave the women vulnerable?
否か。勝てば鉄が手に入ります。
That's not what she wanted. All she wanted was her family, not iron. And likely while they were gone, the village was attacked.
私たち女はそれを聞いてびっくりしました。だって私たちの集落は別にお鍋や鎌の刃に困ってなかったんですもの。
What more did they need?
それでも男たちの決定を女が覆すことはできません。どうして入りもしない者のために命を懸けるの？
I wonder if part of her maybe resents him for doing it.
いるのだ。西のイングベは野心の強い男だ。奴の一族が鉄を手にすれば、一帯の均衡は崩れるだろう。
He sees it as protecting his family, and she doesn't see it as such.
村も豊かになるのだ。
But at what cost? She doesn't want wealth, she just wants her family to be safe. Oh, her little baby. Oh.
ヒャルティ、そなたを守るために父は戦うのだぞ。
理解できませんでした。
こら、いたたた。
守るためなら一緒にいてくれればいいのに。
Which means she was likely captured as a slave while he was gone.
若い男は皆戦へ赴き、残された女と子供は家を守り、船を見たとき、男たちが帰ってきたのだと思いました。
Oh no.
男たちの留守を狙われたんです。女は船に乗せられ、
What about the children?
私はヤルティを
They got rid of the kids. Because they can't sell them.
きっとたくさんの苦しみが彼を変えてしまったのでしょう。今は彼こそが嵐そのものです。今度こそ私は男たちの嵐から子供を守らなければなりません。
Is she saying she's pregnant? Kettle's
つい先
baby.
日わかりました。今私のお腹にはケティル様のお子がいます。
She worries what Gardar would do if he knew.
旦那様はきっとこの子を歓迎してくれ
But
るで
there's
しょ
no
う。
promise that Gardar
子供を欲しがっていらっしゃる。
will.
この農場ならきっと平和に健やかに
It's her sacrifice to save her child in a way that she couldn't save her other.
このまま嵐が過ぎ去るまで。
Oh, my heart's broken. She still looks so conflicted. A spark's been kindled inside of her. Is she gonna risk herself to go and help him?
嵐が過ぎるの
He
待つんじゃ
knows.
なかったのか。
She just doesn't want Aina and Thorfinn to risk themselves.
お前らはわしがすっかり猛録したと思っとるようじゃが。
But she does
ま
love
だまだ正気じゃ。
him. She's not gonna abandon him.
せめて傷の手当てだけでもわかるんです。もう会うべきではな。なのにどうして。
わしもかつてじっと耐えて嵐をやり過ごしたことがある。いや、隠れておったのだ。震えながら その頃ケティル、息子は同郷の美しい娘と愛し合っておった。だがある日、その娘が近隣で力を伸ばしていたエッペという男に見初められてしまい、わ
And
し
he
らは
allowed
苦し
him
い決
to
断を
take
迫ら
her.
れた。ケティルは娘を守るために戦いも辞さない覚悟だった。
And he wouldn't allow it.
逆らえば滅ぼされると、我らの下した決断は服従だった。
And he regrets it.
ノルドの男が聞いて呆れる。わしは保身のために一人の娘を差し出したのだ。
But he did what he thought was best in that situation.
エッペの富を妬み、憎しみを抱いた男の仕業だった。知らせを聞いて駆けつけた時には、もう何もかも焼き尽くされた後だった。
She was killed.
なぜいつもこんなことばかり。
わしに言えるのは、
Make a choice that you won't regret.
やり過ごすことはできても、傷跡は残していくということだ。すまんな、力になれなくて。
But he would if he could. Oh, she's gonna go help him knowing what's gonna happen.
すぐ戻ります。
She's not gonna come back. But she can't live with herself if she just leaves him in his time of need. A glimpse of light in the storm. That's what he is to her. A glimpse of light, a glimpse of potential for something else for the future. That broke my heart, especially knowing that her son was stolen from her and killed because he wasn't useful, because he couldn't be used as a slave. He's too young. And the fact that she's almost lying, because I don't think she was scared of him. I think maybe she was conflicted because this isn't the man that she recognized anymore, because she has this image of him as smiling, laughing, and full of joy. And the man that she sees before her is wounded and emotionally wrecked by everything that he's gone through, and is so determined to get Arnheid back that he's willing to do whatever it takes in order to have a chance of something else, a chance of freedom, a chance to be reunited and to be a family once more. But he doesn't know that their son is dead. He thinks his son is on the farm and he's not. And the fact that she's pregnant, I think part of her probably does fear, like, how would Garner accept this child knowing that it's come from the master? But when she's like crouched behind the wall and she's clutching at herself and she's distressed and emotionally destroyed, listening to him scream her name over and over and over again, fighting to get back to her because he wants to be with her. That to me doesn't seem like she's scared of him. That to me is her trying to restrain herself and hold herself back because she wants to run to him. She wants to help him. She wants to have a chance to be free and get away and be with the man that she's grown to love, that she had a family with once, that she thought she would never see again. I think part of her maybe resents him for leaving, maybe resents that if he had been there, if the men hadn't gone and fought this battle, that none of them would have been taken as slaves, that their children wouldn't have been killed in the process. And she said he'd been killed over pots, and that's referencing back to her saying to Ghana, we have enough pots, we have enough. We don't need anything more. We shouldn't be aspiring for more. And in his mind, it's the idea of power, iron is power, it's wealth, and he worries about the consequences that that shift in power can have. She is thinking about her family, she's thinking about keeping them together, uniting them, that they should be content, that they don't need to fight for something that they don't need, that's not of use to them. And he's looking at how to protect his family and his mind, which is to keep the power balance as it is, but also to improve their lives. He's looking at it from his perspective and she's looking at it from hers. But in this societal dynamic, she says women can't overturn a decision by men. She can't convince him that what they have is enough. And I think part of her does resent him for that. I think it would be hard not to, especially knowing that if he had been there, maybe they would have stood a chance. Maybe she wouldn't have lost her baby. And it's that image of her son screaming as he's being dragged away, and then the spark that's kindled, it's relit that rebellion in her, made her realize that she has to fight back. Yes, she's saying to Aina and Thorfinn, let the storm pass, don't get involved, I don't want you getting swept up in it, I don't want you getting hurt and harmed by it, and I'm pregnant, I need to do what I can to protect this child, I need to be able to raise this child in peace and tranquility on this farm. Not that peace and tranquility is going to happen much longer, but she doesn't know that. But I feel like her words are more to try and pacify herself as well as them, knowing that Aina would rush out to do what he could to help her because he loves her. He wants her to be happy. He's prioritizing her over his own emotions. He doesn't resent Ghana. He doesn't resent their relationship. He loves her so much that he's willing to see her be happy with another man. How selfless is that? That makes me really emotional. He just wants her to be free. He just wants her to have a chance. But the reminder of the child that she lost and the husband that she's now got back, that chance for something else, of course, it's going to re-spark her love for him, re-spark that connection. She wouldn't have fought so hard to try and get to him. She wouldn't have fought to touch his hand if she was so fearful of him, if she didn't want to be with him. The fact that their hands so nearly touched and then they were pulled apart from each other. Oh, it's the loss of what could have been, the potentiality of them getting their freedom being ripped from them once more because their hands don't quite meet. They can't be together. They're forcibly set apart, and Snake sees her as an object and sees Ghana as an object. And that's what infuriates Aina all the more, is that they're not seen as people. He even says slaves don't have an opinion. And that completely infuriates him because these are people, these are their lives, and they're being treated as if they're nothing more than something to be disposed of, to be owned, to be utilized for pleasure or gain or labor. And Arnheid is being separated from Gardar solely because she is Kettle's property. She is owned by him. It's not because they don't understand their relationship. It's not that they don't empathize. It's because they serve Kettle, they serve him, and as his property, they have to keep Arnheid there. But it was just the internal conflict that Ina's going through of being like, I want to help, I want to be involved, I want to give Arnheid her freedom, but at the same time knowing that to do so risks his own life, and he's willing to do it, but it's Thorfinn that's pulling him back. It's Thorfinn that's being the voice of reason, that there's nothing we can really do right now. We have to just watch and wait. We need to not be brash and rush in. And Arnheid, again, I feel like her words are more for keeping Aina calm in restraining him more so than her actually being scared. I think maybe she probably does feel a bit of fear, but not to the same extent, because if she was truly that fearful, she wouldn't be rushing to him to try and help him. And she's saying to tend the wounds, but the fact that Sverkel is telling her, I thought you were going to pass the storm. He knows that this is like her act of rebellion. This is her act of going to her husband and trying to potentially free him, of trying to maybe get their chance to run away, to build a new life together. I honestly did not expect to cry so goddamn much at this episode, but I think it was just the way that their hands nearly touched, the potentiality of what could have been, the fact that her son was so brutally stolen from her and she had to be witness to that, the fact that she has to listen to a man she likely thought she would never see again scream her name over and over again. The realization that they were only 2 days away from each other. All this time, they were so close to each other and they never knew. The fact that she's trying to forget, trying to accept her position, saying that there's nothing that can be done, that she needs to prioritize this child, that she needs to accept her life on the farm, that she is Kettle's property, that this child is one that he wants, that they can raise it together. But that doesn't erase the son that she lost. It doesn't erase the family that she had with Garnet. It doesn't erase the emotions, that intensity of wanting to be free, of wanting to be reunited with the man that she had her son with, that was the father of her first child. Of course, she wants to be reunited with him. And that's why, even though she has that conversation with Aina and Thorfinn, how she talks about her past, about accepting her position, that her decision can't overturn the decisions made by men because women can't overturn them. The fact that she's trying to mediate the situation, trying to almost ease herself, tell herself that this is what she wants, that this is what she has embraced, this is her decision. But then the flashback of her son and then that spark lighting, it's kindled something in her. I love that symbolism of a spark being reignited, something being kindled within her heart that she longed for gone, that she had longed for erased, which is the chance for freedom, the chance for love, the chance to be with her husband once more. And she's willing to risk everything to be reunited with him. But I think it's going to end in tragedy. And I love that we got to see Sverkel trying to relate to her and not condemning her, basically saying to her that even if you wait out the storm, who's to say that it's going to end the way that you think it does? You could wait out the storm, but the scars are still left behind. He regrets the decision that he made because it resulted in this young girl dying and Kettle not being able to have the woman that he truly loved and to have that relationship. He wonders if he had stood up, if he had not given this girl to this man, if he had been prepared for what might have ensued, could everything have worked out differently? Could things have ended happily? But unfortunately, there's no way of knowing. And that's the point he's making. You have to live with the choice that you least regret. There's no clear cut answer. There's no clear cut right or wrong in this situation. It's just whichever choice you can live with is the choice that you need to make. And for him, he made the choice, but he regrets it. He can't live with that mistake because it resulted in an innocent girl dying. And what he's essentially saying to Arnheid is, I made this choice and I am haunted by it. So you now have to make the choice that you can live with, knowing that the consequences may be dire in the end, that you may be swept away in the storm that you warned Aina and Thorfinn about, that you need to embrace the potential consequences. And I think she is fully aware that she could end up dying in the process, but she's willing to accept that, if only to fight for something, to take a stand, to take a chance to regain her freedom that's been stolen from her, to no longer be property, to no longer have her life dictated to her by the whims of men, by Kettle, by being a slave. She wants her freedom and she wants her husband. And my heart is going to break, I think, next episode, because the storm's gathering. We know that it's about to hit at any point, and I think in the distraction that's going to be offered by Floki and the Jomsvikings attacking, they're going to try and make a run for it, but they're going to end up getting either caught in the crossfire, or Kettle takes that opportunity to take them out because he's angry that she's leaving. Honestly, my heart was absolutely broken for her and her son, and for Garner as well. Garner just wants his wife. And she deep down wants her husband too, because I don't think she would be so upset, so emotionally distressed if she didn't truly love him and wanted to be with him. She wouldn't be risking everything to be with him. And the symbolism of the storm clouds and the moon shining through, this is a ray of light in the darkness. And we constantly see in season 2 that there's this juxtaposition between light and dark. And just when everything feels like it's closing in on her, she sees this ray of light that's guiding her towards her husband, guiding her towards the man that she loves, and this chance of freedom, of being able to achieve something that she longed for had eluded her, that she had given up hoping would ever come her way, that she would ever have the chance to be free once more. So the light is guiding her because she is content in the choice that she's making. This is not something that she's going to regret, and she's not going to allow the storm to pass her by. She's going to walk in the eye of the storm and risk everything for this chance, this opportunity to have her husband and be free. And I want her so badly to have it, but I just don't think they are going to get it. I think it's going to be a really tragic ending, but at the same time, shows how resilient Arnheid is, how she never gave up hope for being free, that she never just accepted her position as a slave, that in the end, she fought so hard to achieve something, to achieve her goal, that that's what truly matters, that you never give up hope, that you never give up fighting for something, even if it means dying in the process. It shows her resilience and strength. I just think she's gonna die. I've already accepted that fact, and that's why I'm getting really emotional about it. But I mean, that's all I want to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. Until next episode, bye.